Good afternoon, everybody. So I just want to spend 5 minutes going over with you a COVID-19 refresher, just a few of the key points that we've seen over the last few weeks that might be some places where we might trip up, and just things to be ultra cautious of as we return to the creche in 2021. So for anyone who hasn't met me, my name is Vicky. Hello, how are you? So it'll just be a few minutes, but I want you to keep this at the front of your head because it is so important and it is crucial to keeping us and the children that we care for safe. Okay. So firstly, be reassured that we are following the current guidelines from the department and from the government. So we are scurrying away in the background and keeping ourselves completely up to date on everything that's being advised for the early years sector to be following. And if there's ever any changes to that, we'll get them out to you as soon as we can. And I suppose it would be remiss of me not to say at this point, thank you to each of you for all your hard work and commitment to getting us to this point. I know it doesn't come easy, and I know that returning to work during this time is hard. And we want to make sure that we can do everything that we can to make it as safe and as easy for you to do your jobs and enjoy coming to work as we can. Okay. So a reminder on the pod system. Oh, my face is covering the words. So the pods. So in every building we have allocated a number of pods, and it is essential that we stick to our pods. I think when we've worked in an environment for the last 6 months, we can start to get a bit lax maybe, or we might think that we can just pop up and see somebody in a different pod. But it is essential that we stick to our pods. The pod system applies from 8 o'clock in the morning until 6 o'clock at night. So even if we only have one child in one pod and another child in another pod, we can't meet. The two staff can't meet. We have to keep separate, keep the children separate. If somebody has to move between pods, and examples of this would be lunch cover, staff, although that is minimized as much as we possibly can, or if you have to go and provide first aid in a different pod, what you have to do before you leave a pod and when you arrive in the next pod is wash your hands. So every classroom in Spree and Sonas all have a sink with hot running water. So you wash your hands thoroughly for 20 seconds before you leave that room, and then you wash them in the next room. So that will protect us as much as we can, okay? But we have to try and make sure that we're steering ourselves away from going out of our pod up to visit our pal who's in a different pod up the road, or even up to borrow something, or up to put our heads in a seat. Have you seen this? If I can't find this, we really do have to make sure that we're keeping ourselves in our own pod and we're minding ourselves as a unit, okay? Ventilation and outdoor play. So we have guidelines to say that we need to ventilate the areas in the creche as much as we possibly can. So what that means is the windows need to be open. You've seen it across the news, and it applies when they were telling us to eat our Christmas dinner with the windows open. The same thought process was applying to that. So ventilation and outdoor play is top of our lists. So all the rooms are to be well ventilated at all times. So lads, I know it's winter, but the windows need to be open. If your children need extra layers, we can send out messages on child paths. And if staff need extra layers, we have just bought fleeces that will be embroidered with the beautiful logo, and we can wear them whilst we're in the classroom. It's important to note that the fleeces then need to be washed every day, same as your tunic. It's not ideal, but it won't be winter forever. And on that, use your outdoor time as much as possible. Different creches have different systems for this. Some have timetables and schedules that you need to stick to. Others have more free access where you can have your own section of the garden that you can go in and out to. Where possible, every group needs to be getting outside every day, really. Now, I know freezing temperatures and rain might impede us a small bit, but we really need to plan our day around it and trying to get outside if we can at all. Outside, coats on, wellies on. And if anybody is stuck, if a child doesn't have the right rain gear, you need to let your manager know, and we can chase that, and we can make sure that everybody has the correct equipment to allow them to go outside and not be getting drenched wet or very cold. Okay. Use of masks. So we're all well used to wearing masks now when we go about our daily business outside of work. I suppose it's important to note that there has been no revision on the guidelines that we're working under regarding our use of masks. So the wearing of masks is still not a recommendation in the early years setting. Having said that, we have updated our own in-house policy to advise that where you feel more comfortable, or if you want to wear a mask, no problem. You can wear a mask, you don't have to wear it all day, you can wear it parts of the day where you feel more comfortable. If you're going up to the front door to collect children, if you're walking along the corridor, you can wear your mask if you feel comfortable. It's entirely up to you. If you choose to wear your mask, you might need to make sure it's washed daily along with your uniform. It needs to be treated exactly the same as your tunic, and that it's boil washed, and that we're on top of that. In addition to that part about us wearing masks, just to note here that PPE boxes with masks, aprons and gloves are available in every room. And if you have a suspected case of COVID-19 within your room, it's that PPE that you need to use. So the surgical masks, the aprons, the gloves, and you follow our in-house policy around using the isolation room and ringing the parents of that child. Okay. Last one, lads. I said I wouldn't keep you long. We need to just keep doing our best. Keep on top of the COVID guidelines. Hand hygiene is still number one. If we are washing our hands correctly, we are drastically reducing the risk of COVID-19 to ourselves and to the children. So washing your hands for 20 seconds with soap and water, keeping the children's hands as clean as we can, washing them on arrival, washing them before lunch, washing them after outside time. Staff temperature checks are happening 3 times a day. We're arriving at work in our normal clothes, changing into the uniform, changing out the uniform then again before we leave, washing uniform daily. Outside of work, we need to make sure we're following the government guidelines around mixing and around distance travelled and exercise, whatever it might be at the current time. And I suppose it goes without saying, but if you have symptoms of COVID-19, restrict your movements and consult your GP. I understand it's a very worrying time for everybody, and we're all doing our best to keep going and keep providing high quality care to the children of Spree and Sonas. So thank you. I hope I see you all again in person soon in the creches. Okay, mind yourselves, take care. Bye bye.